Welcome to episode 3 of Selling Dreams, where we dive deep into life's adventures and real conversations. Today, our host, Freddy, is exploring something a bit more personal: relationships, first impressions, and the memories that shape us. Today, we are excited to have a very special guest with us, Mrs. Dianna Sammy. Dianna and Freddy will be talking about their relationship journey, the projects they are currently working on together, and the lasting memories they have built together. Stay tuned for some real, raw reflections on what it means to connect and grow with someone. But first, disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are that of our host and today's guest and are not meant to offend or harm anyone. This is a safe space for honest, raw conversations, and while we share personal experiences, please remember they are just that, personal. Listener discretion is advised.
The questions are centered around us, our relationship.
Right.
First, your first impressions. When you first, but that day I came to pick you up, what was your first impression of me?
Are we starting though? Let's
Yeah.
start. All right. Do we do it from when you came or from when I started speaking to you initially?
So we met through you contacted me through TikTok.
Yeah, I responded to one of the posts that you put out.
Right.
Right?
So, what was when I responded to you, to your comment?
Yes.
What ran through your mind?
Well, nothing really, to me it was a sad post, and I just wanted to let you know if you wanted anybody to talk to, that I was there, because it seemed to me like it was a memorial post, right? And I just wanted to give my support. That's just who I am. So I reached out and tell you everything, it would be okay, and when you responded, all right. You inboxed me a little while after, and you invited me out for coffee, I think. You said if I wanted to chat and get to know each other, we could go and have some coffee. Then we started talking about our ancestry, Native Americans.
Yes.
The conversation started from there. And I think that same night, I called you on WhatsApp and we started talking again. And we talked all night.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of things.
A lot of things.
And then we realized we both had a very large appreciation for music.
Yes. Music.
Especially that 80s and the 90s. And that's how we started the competition.
Yeah, oh yeah,
The YouTube competition.
Sending each other music. Remember this? Do you remember this? Oh, do you remember this? So it was really refreshing to me to have somebody that I can relate to, somebody who is intelligent enough just not to bring sex into the conversation like 2 minutes into it. So, almost right away I felt a connection with that, So we talked about music, we talked about art, we spoke about family background, and everything just went with the flow, and before we knew it, it was like 12 o'clock, and then it was like 1 o'clock, and then it was like 6 o'clock. We chatted the entire night. I haven't done that, but I felt really comfortable talking to you. There was no pressure. Everything was just natural. It felt natural. It felt good. It felt that I could, just talk. We flowed. So yeah. And then you came to pick me up, and I told myself, wow, he's better looking in person. No offense to the online photo, but I told myself he's better looking in person. He is taller too, though. Those gorgeous eyes. My goodness. Those gorgeous eyes, gorgeous smile. Much better looking in person. And we drove. We were on our way. We were supposed to go down to Chaguaramas, and we ended up going by the Pyramid Lookouts. It was just easy talking to you. We conversated and talked about stuff, and it was really, really nice. We stopped for food, and we ended up at the lookout for the day. And there was an instant attraction. There was. And the day was just nice. He gave me the history of the lookout, the history of the area. We ate, we spent time. It was really, really nice. That was one of the most perfect dates I've ever had in my life. I'm not just saying that, but it was. There really wasn't any pressure from you. There was no desperate energy, you know, and the level of intelligence while we were conversating was really, really admirable. So I appreciated that. Somebody I could just be myself around and talk to about those things. So, yeah, it was the day was perfect. The day was perfect. You were perfect, gentlemen.
One of my most memorable times with you was that North Coast Drive, showing you the history of the area,
Yes.
exploring the wonders of the different types and different styles of beaches.
Yes.
You know, we had the perfect sunset. You know,
Yeah, I remember that.
even like the when we on the beach, it wasn't that day we planned to go to the beach. It was like, hey,
It was impromptu.
yeah, it's like, what you doing this evening? It's like, let's go for a drive.
Yeah.
Just got off work and de-stressed. In fact, that's how the day started.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, worst day ever. That Dianna said, hey, if you ever want, I said, gonna cash that in. It's like, got into the car, rolled on the windows. I'm like, I can't be going to Portland like this. Beach? And he was like, sure. Like,
Yeah.
word,
Just tell me when.
serious. On my way. He was like, yes, I'm serious. Like, all right, cool.
One thing I admire about you as well is how you're very knowledgeable about the history of Trinidad and Tobago. Most of this stuff I didn't really know, or I would have learned since primary school time, but your knowledge is really, really in depth about almost every little thing, right? Most of the places that we go, if not all, you seem to be on top of your game when it comes to knowledge as to why, where, when, what, who, exactly this, that, and the other. So I learn a lot from you as well.
Well, that happened because of growing up, like every other teenager, I had an identity crisis. Trying to figure out who I was, even within my own family, being out from a multiracial family.
Yeah.
Everybody excels in something or the other, and I was the all-round brother. You know, even amongst my bigger siblings and my younger siblings, it's like I do a little bit of everything. My brother Clyde, the table tennis champ. My sister Evis, she's the brainiac. My sister Denise is a saint among men. My sister Afra is the comedian. My brother Dennis is the musician. Blair is the politician. So, you know, amongst my siblings, and then Jamal and Danny. Danny is the educator. Jamal is another politician. So, you know, they're like, what am I good at? And then also, I love history, but am I British? Could I stand, like growing up in Trinidad, you see a lot of British TV shows in the 80s, from the 70s and 60s. And then you get American shows like late 80s into the 90s. But I always wondered, am I British? Now, within the three siblings that share the same mother, Dennis, Blair, and I, we each one gravitate towards a specific ethnic identity more than the others.
Yeah.
So within our family, we have the European, the two European, English European, Anglo-Saxon European, and the Spaniard European. We also have the Warahuan Native American, Native South American lineage, and then the enslaved African lineage, West African lineage. So Dennis, who is darker, the middle child, he grew up very Afrocentric, whereas I grew up very earthbound and Amerindian. Blair was more Eurocentric in her dressing and how she appearance and the way her hair grows and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And I even told Dennis that the other day that growing up, because my hair was so ambiguous, it starts off straight, then it never curls. It goes into this.
That's a mixture, right?
Yeah, it goes into this
Wave.
No, it doesn't wave. My hair doesn't wave. Dennis hair, as soon as it gets cut, it waves.
Yeah.
He has a long Rastafarian hairstyle now, and even in Rastafarian mode, he has curls. I have no curls. I have a poof. It's almost like one of those thing brushes. So it's not straight. It's like a makeup brush. It's not straight, but it's not curly. So I'm just a big poof. So in the 70s, I had it down pat. I had my fro.
Let me see what's the Afro color.
Hanging out with you is always interesting. In fact, right now, even though our paths had separated and we both moved on, we are now collaborating on a very exciting project.
Yes, we are.
A local project that is going to be launched early 2026.
Excited.
It is so exciting, and it shares our knowledge of spirituality. A lot of people get into this whole, well, I'm Christian and I'm this and I'm that, and nothing else can come into the realm. But when I met you, one of the things that I admire is that you were in touch with your spirituality.
Yes.
You yearn to learn more about our ancestors, how they viewed spirituality.
Yeah, Merindians, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in my last project that I am wrapping up now, I dived into West African spirituality, even working with the knowledge of the Orishas and Olodame. Please don't cuss me out in the comments. I'm still learning to pronounce it. Pronunciation wasn't my big thing. But that project is soon to come out and will be featured first on my Patreon for a while before it's released to the rest of the world. It's an homage to the West African influence on our belief system here in Trinidad, and it's also an homage to my ancestors who are of West African lineage.
Yeah.
So that's a homage to them. But when I approached you, it's been 2 days, 3 days?
3 days.
3 days when I approached you with the idea of this project.
Oh, okay.
And it was from long text conversations to marathon conversation last night.
Oh, yeah.
To the point where there is a working manuscript now, and images. The images were so crazy.
I love Trinidad.
So we're gonna link not just the West African side of it, but we're going to serve as an underrepresented group from our heritage, our shared heritage in the West Indies. We are going with the Scottish influence in creating the new world. And people are like, the Scots? What Scottish people? In Trinidad, we have the Church of Scotland. In fact, the last of their churches is now a monument just opposite Woodford Square.
Yes.
So, through my travels, through my studies, they were one of the indentured groups that were brought to Trinidad to fulfill the labor shortage just after emancipation. So, it would be remiss of me to do the folklore of Trinidad and Tobago and not show how some of their stories became our story.
Yeah, really.
Because a lot of people get surprised when they come and they see persons of different, with the freckles and the ginger hair, and like, oh, so British subjects are like British people, descendants, like, oh no. It's wider than that. As our lecturer at UTT says all the time, we all came by boats. It's just the size of the boat mattered, the port we left. But we all came by boat and we all ended up cutting key. From the Amerindians and the canoes to the great ships of the colonizers to the Fatal Razak of the indentured. We all came by boat and we all cut cane. So back to more human things. I feel appreciative that, you know, you're able to open up about this. Of course, I loved our experience together. I loved our time intimately, yes, and also outside of our intimate space.
Yes.
Your travels helped influence not just the way you think, but your sexuality. And I was always amazed that you were open to not just the act, but the sharing of the emotions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
As a young man, I've had some of the weirdest experiences ever. I have had the criers, the
criers.
The criers, oh my Lord. As soon as that endorphins drop, you hear the
sniffles.
What? Huh? and then you have the cries of joy, was the cries of oh, I have sinned. Oh, I remember, oh my God, I was traumatized because she literally came off the bed, dropped to her knees and said, Lord, forgive me, for I have sinned. I've allowed this vile beast to deflower your gift. And I'm like,
she said that?
Yeah, she said that.
Verbatim?
Verbatim.
Wow.
She did it twice. Over a 10 years span. I tell people, I admire people who rededicate their life to God and things.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the first. And of course, you know, losing it, she was like,
lost it.
I have sinned. I've allowed this vile creature to deflower the Lord's gift.
And then she lost it.
And then she cried. I dropped her home and everything. 10 years passed and it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you so long. Like, oh wow, still gorgeous as ever. Like, yeah. Hey, what you doing right now? I was heading to Sunshine. And to put it to a spoken word. And honestly, that's where I was heading. We never got there. We ended up in the Emerald Hotel. Just a stone's throw away from Sunshine.
Just a stone's throw.
And she ran out of the room in a robe, clutching her clothes. And I hear her going on the hall.
It's giving.
Oh my God! I have said.
It's giving deja vu.
Deja vu. I was like, this is gonna be awkward during checkout. You know.
I am a bit more reserved when it comes to opening up myself to men. I have had a couple of bad experiences with a few of my relationships that I have had. So I tend to kind of keep myself close and guarded against the tricks that some men tend to use to get what they want. But this is just my personal view. It's not, you know, generalizing men or women.
So the dreamers out there listening, that was your original selling dreams, those tricks. That's what we refer to as being a selling dream. We try to sell a narrative and
they tell you what you want to hear in order for them to get what they want. So they're going to tell you anything.
The beautiful thing is that Trinidad women are so vocal. All you have to do is whisper. She will tell you everything. And in typical feminine fashion, she will tell you, remember when you told me such and such? I'll be like, Yeah, sure, let's go with that. I never said that, but you believe that I said it, so we're going to go with that.
Because that was her interpretation of it. It was her interpretation.
No, because, you know, what I love about women fall in love with their ears.
They fall in love with what they hear.
Our hearts, men's hearts are connected to our eyes, women, their ears are connected to their hearts. You know?
And a lot of women too hear what they want to hear. You know, a lot of them are looking for this ever after. So as much as they would have their guard up, if a man is not honest and true, and he knows that he can say what he wants, and a woman is not guarded and she's gullible enough, she's gonna believe.
Boy, thank God for Mills and Boons and Hallmark movies.
Thank God. No, that's a
because
that's a
it's
build
like
up. That's a build up to crash. No. Thank nothing. They fill up your head with a lot of garbage and what they expect life is supposed to be like. You know, and when you realize it's not, this is not what Fabio said. This is not what Fabio did. He didn't do it like this.
Listen,
you know,
I loved Santa Barbara because growing up I did try the Victor Newman. It didn't come off well.
Victor Newman.
A lot of women didn't
Victor
like
Newman
that.
Is Young and Restless.
Young and Restless, but they didn't like the I am God's gift to man. So I had to go with something more believable. So I did Cruz from Santa Barbara.
Oh, Cruz Castillo.
Yes,
I remember him.
And then I realized that if I did Rich from Bold and Beautiful,
okay,
he was more acceptable. He's more palatable. He's more, you know, a little more olive skin, a little more Redman in his thing. And recently I started back watching it just to make sure that they didn't change the character arc, and you know, they're separate, and he's telling his daughter, but Brooke was the most perfect person to represent the company.
Brooke?
Yes, he and Brooke. Crying Brooke.
I think Brooke, they said Brooke taught Trinidadian women how to mourn. Because it's what they say. Right?
Well, let's look at this way, right? I still don't deal with crying women. I'm sorry, ladies. I had to explain that to somebody the other day. She was very emotional. I said, okay, so here's the phone, call your girlfriend. I'll come back in a couple minutes later. Because remember I told you, my mother always told us that Mama Catherine, my great grandmother, always said a crying woman is akin to a witch.
What?
Yes, women use crying as a manipulation. And if you're going to manipulate, you might as well do the full witchcraft.
Wow.
What they call it now, varging, where they take the essence of creation and they dip their fingers in and put it behind their ears to excite the pheromones, the catcher.
You were actually the first one that I hear that said that.
I'm like, vouching. I was like, oh.
I must admit that I tried it once. Ooh. It worked. Oh my God. It works.
Oh, trust me, that answers the pheromones.
Oh wow! Not again, but I
always wondered why in movies like shows like Little House on the Prairie, why they always want to go on picnics, and every time there's a picnic scene, she always asks him to lay his head on her lap. It was the original varging. Let the scent swath you. But you know, in practicality, during the times of the cowboys, they couldn't do that. Because, oh my Lord, they're like a tin of sardines.
Oh, wow.
Remember, they used to bathe once a year during the spring thaw. So imagine, you put your head on the lap and you're like, remember, that's why the French used to use so much heavy perfumes.
Oh my
to cover body odor. That's what they call it, eau de toilette. Remember?
Yeah, moving on.
And even the most sensual male scents are made from the urine or the musk of the musketeer.
Yeah, I know.
The most alluding. Shout out to R. Kelly. Dory brother. You know what you did? You paid the price. Here's where we're going to insert the disclaimer that the views and comments and opinions of the presenter and guests of Selling Dreams are not that of management or future owners.
That's our own opinion. That's our own opinion. That's our own personal.
I still love my 12 play. 12 play.
Yeah, very easy person to get along with. Very easy to communicate with. For me, at least.
Please tell that to the people I work with.
Well, you are. I mean, I see you smiling. I don't really see you smiling other places, but you're very easy to get along with. For me. We conversate well.
What I love about you that you never got alarmed when I did when I turned on the flamboyancy for a couple of seconds, like, oh girl,
Wow.
go girl. You know, a lot of women can't deal with that. And like, queen.
I said that actually.
Yes, yeah.
That. But it was all in fun, man. It was all in fun. You know?
I think we were messaging in using gifts and something, and you were like, why you not smiling for the day? You're asking me about my day, and I was
Yes.
like, these people are going to turn me petty. And you're like, why? I was like, petty is my favorite color. I was like, I love the age of memes. The age of memes and gifts are so it allows a third way of breaking of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
And in some cases, you bring the photo. I've even found myself in conversation, talking with someone, and then looking off like there's a photo. Like, she's serious. She doesn't see us here.
What I like to is what stood out for me as well, and it still does, is your commitment to family. You have a very tight relationship with your siblings, your parents, your son. It is very admirable the way you take care of them. You take time out of your schedule, you take time out of your life, and you tend to them, you cater to them, and that is amazing. In times like this, where most families that I know of, they're really not that tight, where you can call a brother or sister and know that they're dependable enough to be there for you no matter what. I really admire that with you, seeing you with your brother and what you do and how you do it out of the goodness of your heart. Not that you have to do it, but because you want to do it and because he's your brother. I really admire that commitment with your son as well. You know, I really, really admire that. It says a lot.
Well, my brother is just natural because he's been there for me even in the darkest of times.
Yeah.
He always offered me a place to lay my head when he didn't have to. With the mini me, I'm just trying, just as myself, trying not to mess up and to remember that our purpose here is to elevate by making him better than I am. My dad did what he could with the little that he have to influence us to be better than him, and we in turn try to get this generation to be better than us. That maybe one day the human race can look back and, as in the dreams of the great Gene Roddenberry and all these great modern day philosophers who dream of a utopia where man lives beyond the collecting of material things. Man survives just for the betterment of others. But that's eons from now. At this rate. You know what's amazing?
What's that?
Human growth. I was listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of my favorite New Age philosophers. Neil was talking about how rapid we developed from the Oval Brothers 13 minutes flight to mass transportation using flight. The space of time. To just a couple more decades and we went to the moon. Within 1 century, we pushed innovation.
Yes.
And as my brother usually points it out, due to war, he also highlights that war was the advancement, not just in technology and machines and stuff, but also in music.
Yes.
The renaissance of happens in music every time the human spirit needs to heal from a war. At the time of this taping, the human race has gotten to a point where almost 100% of the human race is not at the mercy of a gun. We have little conflicts here, there, and everywhere. But to say that we are losing millions of people a day or an hour is for the first time in history, even with all these little conflicts all over. Ukraine right now, I think Ukraine is the biggest thing we have on for actual conflict right now, other than Palestine. I want to acknowledge, I ain't stepping on nobody's toes, but I want to acknowledge that Palestine finally got a seat at the UN today, about a couple of days ago. They finally got their own seat at the UN as a state. The UN has recognized Palestine as its own state. And I wish people will bury a hatchet. Not that they inherited it, but they are, what people like to say, they're drinking medicine for somebody else's fever.
Somebody else's fever, yeah.
You know? Those promises were made decades ago, centuries ago. Why are we still fighting those wars? Let's just move forward. One of the things I want to touch on as our drive is nearing its end. I don't even know how long we've been driving.
Half an hour.
Moving forward, what advice would you give to persons, young people who are friends, who where one may be thinking, hey, this friendship can't go beyond a friendship? What advice would you give a young woman, a young man now in making sure that they get the best out of that relationship?
In terms of moving from friendship to relationship, or just sustaining the relationship?
Moving from friendship to a relationship, what advice would you give a young person?
Well, I would advise them that if they have a solid foundation in your friendship, you guys discuss moving forward. If it's something that you both want, because you would have been friends for a while, and if the both of you all decide to take it to the next level, make sure you both are comfortable with it. Relationship sometimes changes the dynamic of friendship, so you guys need to ensure that you really want to go into it, because relationships itself comes with a different level of expectations, and people seem to expect more when you're moving from friendship to relationship. So if your friendship is solid enough and you guys are open enough and communication is great, and you decide that, well, you want to head into it, take your time and you move forward into it. Keep that level of respect, keep that communication open, right? And just keep the expectations where they are. It is the same friendship, just on a different level, right? And once you have those key points, you should be all right. You should be all right.
Dianna, thank you again for being such a wonderful person.
Okay.
You've always been supportive of me and my shenanigans.
Right?
You gotta be the shenanigans. Hey, shenanigans one more time.
That's the word we're going with today. All right, shenanigans. We'll go with that word, Sharon. It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
So as you say goodbye to the dreamers, and they're gonna see you soon in as projects come along. Any last words?
Don't ever stop dreaming. Don't ever stop dreaming for what you want. Don't ever stop hoping for what you want. Always keep your head on, and keep your eyes open for those Trinidadian men. But other than that, bye to all.
Alright, dreamers, until next time, this is episode 3. Come here, girl.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Selling Dreams. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to reflect on the important relationships in your own life. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. You can also show support through our Patreon page at patreon.com/sellingdreamspodcast. And as always, keep dreaming, keep building, and keep reflecting on the journey. Until next time.